So in this tutorial, I want to talk about notifications in Canvas. So in the last tutorial, you'll recall that I took us to the account panel and I chose profile or settings, and I set up different ways that students or faculty members could contact me if they were involved or engaged in my course. Now what I want to talk about is how we can restrict the frequency of communication to our device. So let's say you set up your email or your Twitter or push notifications or even text messaging with Canvas. Well, how do you restrict how often you're messaged by Canvas itself? So let's say that I'm a student in a class and the instructor realizes that there are typos in 8 different documents, and the instructor starts correcting those typos in those different documents. Well, I might not want to receive 8 notifications that each document is updated. I might want to receive just one notification at the end of the day or at the end of the week describing to me all of the changes that the instructor has made to the course. Similarly, if I'm an instructor, I might not want to get updates for changes that I'm making to my course because I know I'm making those changes. I might only want to receive changes and notifications for changes that my students are making, like assignment submissions. So how do we regulate this? Well, again, we're going to click on our global navigation, we're going to click on the account button, and we're going to choose notifications from the menu that pops up. And this is going to bring us to the notifications pane. So let's talk about this notification pane and the preferences that come with it. So first and foremost, you'll notice I have a table here with several different columns and rows. So I want to talk about this first column initially. This first column is going to take Canvas, and remember these are global settings, so this is for every Canvas course, not just one, but every Canvas course you're either teaching or taking. And it breaks that course into different categories: course activities, discussions, conversations, scheduling, groups, alerts, and conferences. So we've got these different categories that we can set notifications for. Now, you'll notice there are a lot of different items beneath each category, and if you ever want to get more information about an item, all you have to do is hover on it. So here I have due date. If I want to know specifically what it's referring to in regards to due date, let me hover over it. And it says, if an assignment's due date is changed, then this is going to notify me. So let's say that this is a winter semester or this is a spring semester where maybe the campuses get closed due to ice or inclement weather, and it pushes that course back a few days. Well, the instructor might want to give extensions for the due dates of specific assignments. So this is how students would be notified if the assignment due dates have changed. So you can hover over whatever item you want to gain more information and perspective on what that particular item is going to involve. So a new file is added to the course, a new announcement is posted to the course, and you get the general idea. Let's come over to these columns over here. So I've got 3 columns: email address, Twitter, and push notifications. Now, these 3 columns exist because I added these 3 forms of contact. If I didn't add my Twitter account, then I would only have 2 columns here: email address and push notifications. So you might have fewer columns than I do. You may have more columns than I do. Again, remember, you can add these different types of communication methods under Settings or Profile when you click on Account. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the options that I'm given for each form of contact. Now it's the same kinds of options, but I want to go through the 4 distinct options available. So you'll notice that every single one of my forms of communication has this check mark. If I hover over it, it'll tell me exactly what that form of communication is going to be. So this notification will be one where I am notified right away. So literally, if the due date changes or is changed, I will immediately send or receive an email because of that. So if I change the due date, my students will immediately receive an email if they have this checked. What does the clock stand for? Well, that stands for send a daily summary. So sending a daily summary allows the student or the instructor, whoever's choosing to receive the notification, rather than being notified when everything is being updated, they're only sent a notification at the end of the day that summarizes every change that was made related to due dates. So let's say I had 8 assignments and there is inclement weather and I have to push back the due dates for all 8 of those assignments. My students might not want their phone buzzing for every single assignment I change. So they might not want the notify me right away. Instead, they might just want to have this checked so that at the end of that day they'll receive a single email that details every single change I made to all 8 of those assignments. The calendar sends a weekly summary, so it's the same thing as this, except instead of sending it at the end of the day, it's sent at the end of the week. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for most students because depending upon the due dates of certain assignments, if they don't receive this until the end of the week, they might miss significant changes to due dates, and that might cost them some of the time available to them to make corrections or complete the assignments. And then finally, this X here says, don't send me anything. There may be certain activities in Canvas where you don't want to be notified. I'm the instructor. I know when the due dates are going to change, so I'm going to set this to don't send me anything because I don't need to know when I change the due dates, and I can even turn that off over here and push notifications. Okay? And so you can kind of see that this is going to work throughout the entire course. Now, the complicated aspect to this is when you're both an instructor and a student. For instance, if you're taking someone else's course as a student while you're also teaching a course, then you may have to regulate when you receive certain notifications and how often you do. A safe bet is if you don't want whatever device it is you're using to constantly be vibrating and constantly notifying you that you've got changes, then this is just a really good way to constantly receive a daily email summary that tells you all of the changes that happened in your courses in Canvas. So that's how notifications work. Go ahead and just comb through here and personalize this. And if at any point in time during the semester you don't like the way it's going, then you can always pop back in here and make changes.